Okay, this trail is located on an old road that used to follow a ridge line here, and there's actually, I believe, at least 3 ways you can hike off this trailhead here. The one we're going to do today will break off down here and go to the right down into Brush Creek. I think Brush Creek Loop is what it's called. And then we'll climb out the other side and come out up by Cleveland Knob and come back along the road to the trailhead. I believe that's going to be probably about 1,000-foot decline and then another 1,100 foot ascent coming back out. About the same point you break off for that trail to the right, there's I guess I'll be generous and call it a primitive trail that drops down to the left toward Leatherwood Creek, bends back around and comes up the canyon ravine kind of over here to our left that you can kind of see over there. And then it climbs steeply out of that ravine back up to the road we came in on. And you come back down the road. And then the longest route is to stay on this main trail. And it goes all the way down to the Buffalo River. The part that's up on the main ridge line is not overly steep, but when you get down toward the Buffalo, when it drops down into the river bottom, there's supposed to be some pretty steep switchbacks down there leading down into the river bottom and then coming back out. And that's a long hike. I'm guessing that'd be 10 miles or so, 10, 11 miles down and back. So anyhow, we're not going to do that today. We're going to try and do the little over 5 mile one, and drop down into the Brush Creek drainage, and then climb out the other side toward Cleveland Knob. But you can see what the trail's like ahead of us here. I'm going to stop and shut the camera off, and then we'll catch you in a little bit. Okay, just wanted to capture here a little further down the trail. We haven't hit our turnoff yet, but that there is looking down into the Leatherwood Creek Valley down there. And on down that direction is where the Buffalo River flows. The trail's gotten a little rougher as we go down here. This is not a maintained trail. A lot of horseback users down in here do some maintenance, but there's no scheduled maintenance on this trail. And over here to this side is the Brush Creek Valley, and that's what we'll be going down into eventually. Anyhow, thought I'd catch you a short glimpse of this. We'll stop the video and catch you in a few. Okay. Well, we made it down to the trail junction, which the trail we wanted goes off there to the right. And I think the other trail that goes down into Leatherwood probably goes off over here somewhere. This is 1.2 miles roughly down the main trail from the trailhead. So anyhow, this is where we're at. And I'll shut the camera off and we'll start heading down the trail toward the Brush Creek drainage. See you later. Okay, well, we got off on the spur trail here, and the first little bit was a little confusing. You had to kind of find your way through a little shrubbery and small trees and stuff. But you can see here we're on it heading down into the Brush Creek Valley here. And you can see off to the right what we have down in this area. Small bluff right below us. This trail should cut through it down here. But anyhow, that's where we are. So I'll cut the video off and see you in a little bit. Okay, well, we got down into the Brush Creek Valley, and as you can see, as of right now, what we're along here, there is no water in Brush Creek. Thought I'd leave the camera on here for just a minute. There's a section of the trail that runs right along the left-hand side of the creek for a little ways here. And then eventually we will cross the creek, and then we start to climb out. So that will be a little bit slower process. Now this is in the Leatherwood Wilderness area, so, well, most folks will know, but just to say it, there are black bear down here, there are wild hogs down here, and of course all sorts of other critters. Now, I hiked down in this area some this summer, and now here this time, and I have not seen, I saw one black bear when I hiked back into Cleveland Knob, and he got off the road and left me alone. And I haven't seen any wild hogs, so I don't know how common they are. But just be aware, whatever time of year you come down here, that you do have the chance of running into wildlife. Okay, well, I'm going to shut the camera off for now and catch you in a little bit. Okay, well, been running along the left-hand side of the creek for a while now, and as you can see ahead, we're starting to go down, and I believe right down there is going to be our crossover point, and then we'll go across the stream, and then we've got to climb out over on that side and meet up with the Cleveland Knob Road up there just below the knob. So anyhow, doing good. Been what, about an hour and 15-20 minutes on the way so far. So I'll shut the camera off and catch you later. Okay, well, made it down to the creek crossing. This is, what, about 2.5 miles, and it's taken right at about an hour and 50 to an hour and a half to get down here. Only had 2 trees down across the trail that you couldn't get over, that you had to do a little detour around. But again, right now, Brush Creek is dry, so it's just waiting on the spring rains. Now we start the fun part. Now we start to climb out. So this will be a little slower, I'm sure, but we'll get up there and work our way through it. So I'll shut the camera off and see you in a little bit. Well, okay, we made it up the worst of the climb. If you look here to the left, we're just above a small bluff line there. And we've got part of a high point over here to our right. The trail should curve on around here, and you can see it going ahead, and eventually hit a saddle, and then you'll turn and go up towards the road. But anyhow, that's what it looks like now, and so far so good. I'll turn the camera off and catch you later. Okay, we made it up the uphill climb all the way to the saddle. Now we've turned to right, and we've got to get through this little bluff line over here on the left, and then up at the top of that knob is where we'll take it out to the road. And then over here on this side, you can get some idea of the hillside we climbed up. That's a good long climb up there. But anyhow, we're getting close to the road, so we won't be too much longer till we'll be on the home stretch. I'll shut the camera off and see you later. Okay, here's the last climb to the top of the knob, and it's pretty level out to the road. You can get a glimpse over here if the sun doesn't get in the way, and see how high up we've climbed from where we were down there in the valley. Anyhow, another 5 or 10 minutes and we ought to be back on the road. See you later. Okay, well, we're coming out of the woods up here to the Brush Creek Road, or Cleveland Knob Road, whatever you want to call it back in here. We've been, let me look here. About 2 hours and 45 minutes to get to here. So, not too bad, given the terrain. This last section, there's actually, I think, 3 little knobs you have to go over. Cleveland knob's right up there around the curve. And then here's where we go back to the car. So, first knob was pretty easy to get around. Second knob, I lost the trail. Had to do a little wandering around there. But overall, not bad. So now all we got to do is walk the road back to the car. I'll cut the video off here. See you when we get there. Okay. Well, here we are. Back at the car, completing the loop. Took about 3 hours and 20 minutes to make the loop. So, not too bad. That's probably a little better than I thought I would do. But we have completed it. Yeah. And there's where we took off this morning at the start of the trail on February the 18th, 2026. Very good. I'll close this out and get a video put together and out on YouTube. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.